You are listening to The Michael Lodge Show. Wealth, business, and taxes. Oh, yeah, and some politics. Let's get started.
And here we are. This is Mike Lodge. Glad you're here. Got your cup of coffee? I'm going to tell you the truth. I don't have a cup of coffee this morning. I am practicing the sin of podcasting by not having a cup of coffee with me because I ran out of coffee. I just went into the kitchen this morning. I was dying for a cup of coffee. Reached into the canister to pull out the coffee. Nothing. It was all gone. So what do? Well, you go in and pretend you have a cup of coffee and do a podcast. Now, I'm not going to pretend that well because I'm the worst actor that's out there. But let's just pretend I have a cup of coffee. Let's pretend that we're sitting across the table with each other and we're going to talk. So let's talk. So, I don't know if you guys have, or you use the app that's called Flipboard, Flipboard, Flipboard. It's kind of like an app that's formed into kind of like a magazine. So, if you're a blogger, if you're a podcaster, if you are a national media outlet, you can post articles into this magazine style thing, and you can set up your own little page or site within Flipboard. And you can go out to other publishers out there and you can post in different articles and everything else like that. And you can also read a lot of good articles. So I have mine set up for my page. But then I also I've attached myself to other people's pages, such as branding, on marketing, on business, on international finance. I have several different things, and I read that every single day when I wake up because there's some really good individuals out there that write good business articles. So the problem that I'm finding is that there's a lot of individuals that's writing really good articles, but they're just covering what other people have already covered. In other words, there's nothing new. And I always desire to learn something new. I was researching on branding because I'm focusing on branding my firm and trying to get my name out there and trying to get it going and trying to bring in new clients and customers. Because you got to remember, as a mediator, I have a customer, and as soon as I'm done mediating them or doing the mediation for them and we've come to a conclusion, I'm done. And I have to go out and look for new ones. So I always have to look at creative ways to go out there and but to, promote my company, to brand my company, to get my name out there. So I'm reading these articles, and it was one article after another article after another article, and they were all saying exactly the same thing. The one that I read this morning was on how you're supposed to brand yourself and get yourself out onto Instagram. Well, let me tell you, Instagram has an algorithm that's very hard to beat. And for businesses like myself who are just offering a service, it's really not a good outlet for me to use. Now, at one point in time I was up to several thousand. Now I'm down to just 1,000. I mean, that's, Instagram plays these algorithm games, and then pretty soon you don't know exactly if you're reaching anybody. You don't know if anybody's reading you. You're just getting a few likes, and it just goes on from there. So, but when you read the articles on how to improve your Instagram position, it's all the same. All exactly the same thing on marketing. Now, we're not just talking about Instagram here. We're talking about on marketing, on social media, on branding, on email, the whole gambit that we as business people use to promote our stuff. So basically what I'm reading is that there's no new ideas. Even some of the individuals who have approached me said, listen, I do marketing, but they're doing exactly the same thing as what everybody else is doing, and exactly the same thing as what I'm doing. So we need to come up with some brand new ideas and tell me about it. But don't sell me the old standard bag of goods and of nonsense. Because it's not anything new. Listen, in advertising, in marketing, in branding, you have to be creative, and you got to step out of the box and try something new, or do something new, or come up with a brand new way of getting your marketing out there to potential clients. But what I've seen is it's really the repeat of the repeat of the repeat. And I'm wondering if these guys are not reading the same articles and just writing their own, but just changing it somewhat. I don't know. But that is one of the things that I'm seeing, is that advertising and marketing is no longer creative. And if you want to make something in this industry of advertising and marketing, you got to come up with something that's totally different. Now, I know kind of what I'm talking about here, because I used to own an advertising company in Asia. It was called Diamond Pacific AdMart Group. I shut it down, oh my gosh, maybe 25, 30 years ago. But it was one of the first companies I put in Asia. And we did quite well. We had a lot of local, but we also represented a lot of American companies into the Asian market. But that system that we had, or the company that I had, we were always thinking about the words in a word and a comma and an exclamation mark and a picture and we were always rethinking everything that we were doing for our clients. So I know somewhat of what I'm talking about in advertising and marketing, because I've been there, done that, and I'm still doing it with my own company. One of the things that I must pat myself on the back at that, since I have had so many different companies, and I've had so many different clients in different venues and types of industries, I grasp very quickly of what's going on, because I'm always changing as I take on a new client. And when I had clients in entertainment, I had clients in containers that moved goods and products across the world. Had construction companies and crane companies and gravel companies and real estate companies and and healthcare companies. So I was able to adapt very quickly. And I think that now, if you are not adaptable, you're not going to make it very far, because we have gone through this pandemic, we've gone through this virus, and we have got to become more adaptable and move very quickly, because now we're making up for lost time. And so as we are working every single day in our businesses, we need to be focused on, okay, what new idea can I bring? Toss it out there to your staff. What do you think that we should be doing? Don't just think that you have all the answers. Toss it out to your staff. Toss it out to people that you're working with. Talk it out. Talk it out. We'll talk it out too, but toss it out to individuals so that you have respect for in the business community. And I think that's the whole purpose of what we need to do. We've got to become more adaptable, and we've got to begin communicating better with the individuals that can give us really great advice. Because we have just gotten out of a situation where government came in, shut us down, and now we have to rebuild. And some of us have gone out of business. So now we're saying, now what do I do? Think out of the box. I hate that term, but that's what you have to do. Think out of the box. Become very aggressive. And become very good at communicating. Because that communication process is what's going to get you into that new company or into that new client. I tell you, as I read through Flipboard, and I have tons of articles from Fortune and Harvard Business Review and Inc. magazine and everything. You can just pull them out there and you can read them every single day, and they are great articles. Now, what you have to be careful of are bloggers, because bloggers don't seem to really fact check what they're saying. They just make statements, and they're open-based statements, and they have no facts, no documentation, no nothing to prove what they are saying. So you have to be very careful about who you choose to read and listen to when you're on Flipboard. And you have to use what I know that this is a new word to a lot of you, common sense. Okay? Not political sense, forget about politics. But what is good common sense in business and in life in general? So I encourage each and every single one of you, if you don't have a Flipboard account, go out there and get one, because it's really, really interesting. It is the place where I can get all the information that I need, all my reading done within a matter of moments, because I've got it all there on one single thing on my cell phone. That's also on my iPad and also on my computer. And I tell you, it saves me a lot of time, because I truly believe that if you are anyone in business, I don't care what kind of a business that you own, you should always, daily, early in the morning, read articles that are going to help you out in business. Going to help you out in the type of work that you do, to understand what's out there in the world. Now, you have to also be very careful, because I tell you, we have a lot of individuals out there, especially in mainstream media. If you're going to use Flipboard, turn off all the politics, because you're going to get bloggers and everybody else that are on there trying to convince you of a political agenda. Turn those off. Turn them all off, because you're waste of time. That's what I was going through the section that I have sectioned out for advertising. And once you know it, in the middle of the advertising section, there was a political statement. And I get so tired of that, because what I only want to do when I'm in that page, or if I'm in the branding page or a marketing page or an advertising page or a technology page, I only want to hear about that. I don't want to hear about politics. I don't want to hear it, because I want to learn that morning, and I don't want to get involved with this nonsense of politics. It's a corrupt world, this politics. And I've said this so many different times, politics within a business corrupts that business. If you are making business decisions based upon political or social issues, you're not going to be in business very long. And in fact, you're going to start losing a lot of respect by those that used to follow you, that used to do business with you. Stay away from the politics, because it does so much damage within your company. I know that a lot of you have very strong views politically. I have strong views politically. But once you begin bringing in those views, there are other individuals who may work for you, who may do business with you, who don't believe as you do. And once you start spouting your political views and putting other people down based on your political views, expect to lose business. Expect to have employees shut up because they're afraid of saying anything. Politics creates conflict within organizations, within businesses. No matter how big of a business it is, it creates conflict. If you look at the CEOs who have made political statements, they have created conflict. And what happened? When they began speaking out politically, the people who were buying their product said, you know what, I'm not going to use them any longer. I'm no longer going to use Coca-Cola. I'm no longer going to use Delta Airlines. because now they're going against my views and my politics. And I don't have to buy their product. So you see, that's conflict. And then you may also have employees who work within your organization who may be far different from the way that you believe. And now they say to themselves, I don't think I can say anything more because I'm going to be targeted politically within my company because the CEO has now stated his issues, and so now his issue is with me because I don't believe as he does. So understand what I'm saying is that politics is very corrupt, and it creates conflict and disruptions within companies. When there's conflict, it can cost a company a tremendous amount of money because no one is sure what to say, how they can say it, if they can say it, or if they can even tell anybody about how they believe. Because now the CEO has set a precedent of how he believes, and then the people below him think, well, is that how I'm supposed to believe? Is that how I'm supposed to conduct my life? But I don't believe that way. So now there's conflict. Production goes down. Positivity rates within the organization go down because everyone is in limbo because they don't know if they even will have a job because the president or the CEO doesn't believe in my beliefs and does not respect that I have that belief. And that's where it becomes very dangerous to so many different companies out there. Once you begin pushing your political agenda within your company and outside of the company, and then individuals say, okay, you know what, I don't have to use that company's products or services any longer because now they're political. Now they're making business decisions based upon politics. Now they are pushing their political agenda onto the way that I believe when I live in that community. So what I'm basically saying is that politics creates that conflict. So when you're going through Flipboard and through all these magazines on business and everything else, when they start talking about politics, just turn the page or turn it off. Because don't get involved in that conflict. Because that will confuse the mind and corrupt your way of thinking. You have to, we're coming out of this pandemic, so we have to become very focused on what we are doing to make our companies survive. We're not going to get involved in politics because that creates more conflict, and I cannot afford any more conflict. That's the way our minds should be going. Now, if you go outside of the company and you don't have any of the logos out behind you as you're doing the TV interview, and if you don't have any logos on yourself or anywhere, and you don't mention the name Coca-Cola, and if you want to say something, fine. If you want to write something, fine. That's okay. But make sure it's apart from your company or the corporation or the stockholders or the employees that you're representing. Stop that. Stay away from being political within your company and using your brand as a political statement. Stop it. It's unethical, and it's a conflicting issue. So stop it. And those of you who are investing in these companies who are politically driven, stop it. That company is going to get themselves into so much trouble that your stock will go down because of political corruptness. I know a lot of you are saying this guy is an idiot. Well, that's okay. You can think of me as an idiot. That's fine. I've been called worse names. Names don't bother me anymore. Seems like everybody's into this name calling. It's become this political nonsense of calling people racist names, calling people racist only because of politics. You don't believe in the way I believe, so you are a racist. You don't believe in the same God that I believe, so you are a racist. You don't believe in disarming the police, you are a racist. You don't believe in creating inflation and creating more loans that the government has to pay because they keep spending and spending and spending money and borrowing. So I'm a racist. So you see, the word racism is no longer talking about real racism. I know what racism is. I lived through it. Through the Martin Luther King, through the George Wallace, through every part of that. I watched it and I lived it and I heard it, and I know what racism is. But when we talk about the racism that Biden talks about and Congress talks about, it's not racism. It is political racism, where it's used as a political tool and to push their political agenda. Racism is no longer about racism. I'm telling you right now. If you want to sit down with me and if you want to have a discussion on racism, because you may feel differently than what I'm saying at the moment, let's have that conversation. That offer is extended to you, and we'll go through the process of racism. But this political racism, which used to destroy other people politically, is not racism. It's just pure hate for pure political power. And politicians have learned very well that if they push the topic of racism and call people racist and everything else, they know that it divides you and me. They know it. And they do it on purpose. Not to solve any issue on racism. Because if they really wanted to do that, why are they not in Chicago and working within that community? Why are they not in Portland, Oregon, trying to stop that violence based on the name of Black Lives Matter and Antifa? Why are they not talking about that? Why are they not trying to resolve that? Because you see, racism or political racism is used only as a tool to divide you and to divide me. And I think that as we watch this happen in our nation, we have got to step back and look at this and say, whoa, wait a minute. These guys are telling us a big old fat lie here. These guys are trying to manipulate us with the tool of racism. These guys are trying to put people down based on the name of racism. And what we really have are politicians who are trying to change America into a non-freedom country to where government has full control. I was amazed when I read and I heard the words, because I didn't watch the President's State of the Union. But as I watched it, I watched the clip that came onto my cell phone, where he literally said that government is the people. His argument was, we the people is the government. No. That's not what we the people is all about. We the people are you and I, who are supposed to be, through the Constitution, protected from the government, protected from political agendas that can do communities great harm. Political agendas that can shut down churches, that can shut down schools, that can shut down businesses and destroy them. To tax the most obscene situations where they want more and more taxes, more and more money to pay for their programs. So you see, you and I, we are being manipulated by politicians. Now, remember, and please try to put this into your brain, the Constitution was not designed for the government to come after us. It was designed so that we would be protected from the government trying to destroy us. That's why the founders put it in there. That's why they created a Constitution and the Bill of Rights, so that you and I are protected from a government that goes out of control. I want you to think about it. Remember it. If you don't know the Constitution, please pick one up and read it. It's not that long. Get a cup of coffee, sit down, and read it one morning, so that you understand what those words are all about, to protect you and to protect me from the government. We, the people. We, the American people. We, the people who love to go to our churches, who love to worship God. We, the people who love to create businesses and jobs. We, the people who love our families more than anything else in the world. We, the people who look after our neighbors. We, the people who tell government what needs to happen, not to have government tell us what they're going to do. At the moment, I've said this so many times, we're back to where this country started, where we had taxation without representation. So we are taxed so heavily at the moment, but we have no one to fight for us. Because government, once you get into government, it's all about power. What power can I gain? It's a situation that's out of control at the moment. And that's why I've always said we need term limits. Everybody should be on the same term limit. And this is what I think, okay? And you can tell me if I'm wrong. But I feel that Congress should be 4 years and only 2 terms. Senate should be 4 years and only 2 terms. Once you have individuals on the same playing field, knowing that they're going to be done with in 8 years, that their job is going to be over in 8 years, they are going to work hand in hand trying to get stuff done. But right now we have people who have been there for 20 and 30 years and longer. And they're still not getting anything done, but they're building up this bonus, and they're building up these retirement programs and health care coverage. Because when they leave, they'll have that retirement plan there. America is such a great country. I mean, we offer every opportunity to so many people around the world, and they want to come here. And so many of them are trying to come here legally. Some of them have been waiting for years and years and years. But we like people who are willing to wait, because we know when they get here, they are going to do something great. Everything, as they sit there and wait, everything that they're thinking about, they're planning. They're thinking about how I can do it in America, but I can't do it here in India, but I can do it in America. I'm going to do it. But I'll wait. I'll wait for my turn. I'll do it legally. I'll come here. I'll come to the United States legally. And then watch what I will do. Because I will turn things around. I will create new companies, new services. I will be the best scientists, the best engineers, the best attorneys, the best accountants. Those are the kind of people we want, who are willing to wait for their freedom. Because they will love their freedom. They will respect that freedom. And they will build stuff. That's what America's about. But we have individuals in Washington, D.C. at the moment that do not want that. They want everybody to come across. They want everybody to come over. Our national security is at risk at the moment because of what the president and the White House is doing. They are ignoring the national security issue down at the border. We have a problem, but it's still a great nation. One of the things that I keep telling myself, you know what, we can get through 4 years. But we need a balance in power in Washington, D.C., and that means that we need to have a Republican House or a Republican Senate so that we can fight things and stop things before the president signs any more laws into effect that are totally against the American people. We need a balance of power. The most important thing that we need is term limits. Very important. We need term limits. So that is it for today. I hope that each and every single one of you heard what I said. Some of you probably do not believe in what I said. That's fine, because that's what democracy is all about, right? Freedom of speech is all about. Is that we're all able to say things that are in our hearts, in our minds, in the way that we believe. And even if you were to come after me and start calling me names, it would not bother me, because you know what? I love you as an American, and I want you to be able to say whatever is on your mind. That's what America is about. That's what this nation is so grand and glorious. I love America. Listen, if you like my content, help me out, won't you? Go to www.buymeacoffee.com/Michael Lodge. Again, that's www.buymeacoffee.com/Michael Lodge. If you have any questions, send me a text at 818-252-5682. Again, that's 818-252-5682. I read every single one of them, and I respond to every single one of them. Everybody go out. This is Friday. This is the last day of the week. Tomorrow's Saturday and Sunday. I hope that you got something planned for you and your family or your friends. Enjoy life. Live life. This is Mike Lodge. Talk with you soon. Bye-bye. This podcast has been produced by Michael Lodge, fully focused on content.